Ski trips are supposed to be escapes, places where the stress of daily life is left behind, traded for powdery slopes, cabins filled with warmth, and the sound of skis carving through untouched snow. But the mountains, they hide things. The remoteness, the silence, and the blinding white of the snow can conceal dangers far worse than an avalanche. These are not stories of broken bones on the slopes or getting lost in the cold. These are stories of people who went skiing for fun and came back with nightmares they'll never forget. These are 3 horrifying true ski trip horror stories. It was winter break, 2016. 5 college friends, Sarah, James, Kyle, Amanda, and Derek, decided to rent an isolated cabin deep in the Rocky Mountains. The drive itself was unsettling. Winding roads, trees crowding in on both sides, and long stretches without seeing another car. The cabin was cozy, but far away from civilization. 2 miles in any direction, nothing but snow and pines. No phone reception, no neighbors, just silence. The first night was perfect. They cooked a big meal, played cards by the fire, and drank until the flames turned to glowing embers. By midnight, everyone was exhausted. Sarah lingered in the living room, adding wood to the fire. That's when she saw it. Through the frosted window, a shadow, tall, humanoid, gliding past the glass. She jumped, thinking maybe Derek had stepped outside. But when she checked, all her friends were inside, already in their sleeping bags. She tried to dismiss it, but later, in the silence of the night, she woke to a sound. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Slow, deliberate footsteps circling the cabin. She held her breath and peeked through her curtain. Standing just beyond the glow of the porch light was a figure. Tall, thin, its pale face barely visible. It wasn't moving. It was staring up at her window. Sarah screamed, waking everyone. They grabbed flashlights, but by the time they looked outside, the figure was gone. Nervous laughter filled the room as the group teased her, claiming it must have been her imagination. But the next morning, James went outside to get firewood. What he found froze him in place. Boot prints, all around the cabin, leading up to every single window, and yet no prints leading away. They packed up and left within the hour. Sarah still insists that whoever, or whatever it was, spent the entire night circling the cabin, watching them while they slept. Jason and his cousin Daniel were avid skiers. During a trip to Colorado, they convinced a friendly resort worker to let them ride the ski lift after hours. Just one last run, they said. The worker reluctantly agreed, warning them that the mountain was dangerous at night. The resort lights glowed far below as they rose into the darkness. The trees beneath them looked like endless black spears stabbing upward. The only sound was the steady clank of the lift's wheels on the cable. Halfway up, the lift jolted and stopped. They hung there, swaying in the freezing air, staring down at the silent forest. First they joked, but as minutes passed, the silence grew heavier. Then Jason heard it. A voice. Jason. It was faint, but unmistakable. He froze, glancing at his cousin, who looked just as pale. Daniel whispered, "Did you hear that?" The voice came again, louder this time, drawn out, mocking. Jason. It seemed to rise from the forest below, from directly beneath them. Jason leaned forward, squinting into the black trees, but saw nothing. No flashlight, no figure, nothing. Just endless woods. For 30 agonizing minutes, they dangled in silence, hearts pounding, expecting the voice to return. Finally, with a metallic groan, the lift shuddered back to life. They practically jumped off at the top and skied down without looking back. When they returned to the resort, Jason asked the staff if anyone else was out there that night. The worker shook his head. You two were the last ones up. No one else should have been on the mountain. Jason swears to this day that he wasn't just hearing things. He says sometimes, even years later, he still hears his name whispered at night. Ben and Laura were a young couple from Vermont. In February 2019, they decided to take a quiet ski weekend together. They rented a small lodge off the beaten path, hoping to enjoy some peace away from the crowded resorts. On their second night, after dinner, they went for a moonlit walk on one of the snow-covered trails. The night was calm. Their breath rose in white clouds. The snow glittered under the moon, and the world seemed still. Then Laura stopped. Ahead of them, maybe 30 feet away, was a figure, sitting cross-legged in the snow, facing the trees, perfectly still. "Hello," Ben called out. "Do you need help?" No answer. They cautiously approached, crunching snow under their boots. As they got closer, the figure came into view. It was a man wearing thin clothing, no jacket, no gloves. His skin was pale blue, lips cracked, eyes wide open, frozen in place. But then, it moved. The head turned, slowly, mechanically, until its eyes locked on them. Ben grabbed Laura's hand. "Run!" They sprinted back toward the lodge, the sound of heavy, unnatural footsteps echoing behind them. When they finally burst through the door, slamming it shut, they looked back through the frosted glass. The figure stood at the edge of the tree line, watching. They didn't sleep that night. In the morning, accompanied by the lodge caretaker, they returned to the spot. But when they got there, the snow was pristine. No footprints, no sign of anyone ever sitting there. To this day, Laura says she still sees that pale, frozen face in her dreams. Wide, unblinking, and watching. The mountains are breathtaking, but they are also merciless. In the isolation of snow, far from help, anything could be waiting. These people went skiing for fun, for laughter, for peace. Instead, they found something else. Something that followed them home, not in flesh and blood, but in memory. And memories can be far harder to escape.